Hello, Chaz Blanks. I just want to talk about the top five decks to be on the lookout for this YCS remote duel. I want to say it's invitation, but it might just be the regular remote duel YCS. We'll go right into it. First deck, Invoke Shadal. Very powerful deck. You know, of course, you got a combo line. Shadal Schism into app clone into window, or you send it with into your server. It makes it a lot easier. Deck's been powerful since the pandemic started. Since the structure deck printed app clone, and then we got the Nadir server a few months later. This deck's very powerful. I'd definitely be on the lookout for it. Of course, Alistair is still saying. People don't realize how powerful this deck is, a fusion deck. Like the biggest weakness I could say with this deck is like the board. Like the board can be cracked if you have the right cards for it, and if you have the matchup for it. But other than that, that's the first deck I would definitely say be on the lookout for at the YCS. Second deck, Drytron. And by the way, this list is not in any order. It's just like top five decks. I believe are going to be the toughest matchup for people. Second is Drytron. Drytron didn't get any weaker. I mean, even a one really didn't do anything. I do believe it lost like popularity, but it's still a powerful board. If you got the ultimate with the ultimate build where it just is an ultimateness and has like four negates depending on what's in your hand with Orange Light and Eva and Divider. Deck's very powerful. The biggest thing of course now, like, and the same thing with all these decks, they lose to not board wipes, like mass negations like Forbidden Droplet and Dark Will and no more. Like these decks are like extremely powerful. Extremely powerful. They definitely lose out to those. Plus Drytron is like very combo heavy. That's like if you're not a big fan of it, it'll deter you from away from it. But that's definitely another deck I'll be on the lookout for. Very powerful end board if not interrupted. Third deck would be Floowandereeze. There are some other decks out there like Dragon Link and Prankhead. I believe Floowandereeze, and there's two builds. There's two builds. There's two builds out there. There's the Dogmatica version, and I call it the D-Shifter version. The D-Shifter is pretty much I want to draw or open a turn, D-Shift my opponent. They either play or they skip their turn. That's right there is powerful. I believe right now the Dogmatica version is the better version to play because you could utilize the extra deck a lot more because you have the Nadir server plus Dogmatica punishment, send cards, disrupting on your turn and your opponent's turn as well as play and crack boards a lot easier. The D shifter and its turn, I truly believe they could be played. Both can be played in the same deck as long as one is in the side deck. They can be played at the same time. Like I've seen builds where you have it's just like the consistency goes down a little bit because you want to play D shifter, but you got the Nadir server in hand, and the Nadir server just always will be better because it's just a board wipe or not a board wipe, but it can lead into a board wipe depending on what card you send. Get the combo started. But that's a deck I definitely on the lookout for. Floowandereeze is very powerful. Like once they get that new spell card, I wouldn't say it's game over, but man, it makes the deck a lot more consistent, a lot more powerful. Next deck, Sorcerer. Sorcerer, Tenny, Sorcerer, DPE, in general, any of those decks. Very powerful, and if done correctly, can end on like the Synchro 10, Chi Chow, Baron de Fleur, I forgot the other monster. It's a very powerful deck. Even though they say play Lancia, like Lancia does it, but if you can't beat them next turn, there's no point in playing Lancia. The dimensional barrier just ends their turn with these. And there's now with the team build, there are some builds with more link monsters because they started to realize people are playing out to the synchro monsters, and, to shut out build. They got the build with the DPE that can also play with Sice and Dagda to lock your opponent out. That's a good build. Like Sorcerer is probably my pick to win, but this last deck I'm talking about, and I do have some honorable mentions, to talk about. Next deck, or before we get to the honorable mention, hit the like button. If you like what I'm talking about, subscribe. Down in the comment section, let me know which deck you think is going to win on the remote through YCS. Thank you. Honorable mention. I have a few, but my main honorable mention is Sky Strikers. The reason why, Sky Strikers is my first one. First honorable mention. The reason why I didn't talk about Sky Strikers, because a lot of decks play IO. A lot of decks play anti-spell phrase. Sky Strikers lose to both of them. Boy, if you go OTK, anti-spell frig is slightly better. I feel like IO is like for decks that can stall out. And Sky Striker is good at stalling out, but if you can't play spells, that just ends your turn. Because again, you can't play engage and multi. All you can do is link plays. Go Soraya to Hayate to Shizu to Kagari. I wouldn't be surprised if people are playing Sky Shark with the DPE package, because that's another way to get around Imperial Order. Snap, pop it, do you play, then it comes back next turn, pop it again. But yeah, that's my honorable mention pick. And my last deck is, of course, if you ever guessed it, shout out. Tribegate, Lureless Tribegate, Bird Up, whichever you want to call it. Yeah, that deck's so powerful. It breaks. It can break for any board. Like very hard to navigate. Now with the Bird Up cards, just so consistent with these monsters. Still got the Tribegate engine just in case you start falling behind, you can catch up, and then if they get in front, it's just game over. Yeah. Like I believe between that and Sorcerer are my two top picks, but I wouldn't be surprised if like a Prank Kids or Dragon Link come out and win. I wouldn't be surprised because these decks are powerful, very powerful. Chaz Blanks, another video. Have a great day.